This time, Kevin Sapezi is going to come up and introduce Randy Wetzel. Kevin.
Thank you, Craig. I'd start off with, just like the presenters that are here before, I consider it an honor to be up here and being able to present Randy before the Hall of Fame here. It's an honor that it's well deserved. When I was nominating him, I guess it was a couple years ago, reading through his accomplishments, I was in awe. Even though I've known him for a short time, I was still impressed with his list. And as I was preparing for today, going through that list again, because I hadn't looked at it for a while, I was enamored again, and it's something that I'm proud to know someone that's done so well. Excuse me. You done, Kurt? Yes, sir. Okay, good. Randy worked basketball at the collegiate level for 15 years. He worked in the Jayhawk Conference and the KCAC. He worked football for 25 years, working the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, the KCAC, and the MIAA, and then baseball for 35 years. He worked from 1979 to 2014. And the conferences that he worked there included the Missouri Valley, the Big 8, Big 12, and the Big 10. A lot of people don't know that Randy actually started out in the coaching world, and obviously he made the smart move and jumped to the other side after he was probably humbled a few times. I don't know. He was a collegiate basketball coach in Seward County and Pan American. And probably a little known fact is he won a state championship as a high school basketball coach in 1980. Is that correct? At El Saline High School. It's 26-1. I know that's something he doesn't brag about a lot, but if you do bring it up, he's pretty proud of it. He was a member of the KCOA board from 1997 to 2002. He was included his last year on the board as a president. He worked 6 NCAA Division II national playoff games, including one. He worked at 2003, as Craig mentioned earlier, the Division II National Football Championship. On to baseball, where he's very, very, very accomplished, obviously. This included 21 Big 8/Big 12 baseball tournaments, and I think I read somewhere or heard somewhere that ended up being around 120 or 125 actually tournament baseball games at the Big 12 level. 16 NCAA baseball regionals, 9 NCAA super regionals, and then 2011 he hit the pinnacle working the College World Series in Omaha. I've had the great fortune of knowing Randy Wetzel now for a short time in our world, 15 years in a variety of capacities. Initially started out in officiating, and since then at the friendship level and also the professional level. The latter two I do value the most. I, as many of you have gotten to see the best side of Randy over the years, and some of us the worst side. Some of the best times included when I first moved into the Great Bend area. He's a high school principal in Great Bend, and several of the first few games that I worked in that area, I was put on the games with him in basketball. He was always great about mentoring and offering advice, and I was always blown away by how he could implement common sense into any given situation, or how heated the moment was, and he helped get you out of a hairy situation. He's great at calming the storm with coaches and players. I've seen him go to nose with some coaches, which is always only he could get away with in our area. He could always offer the best BS that anybody was able to do. He's great, like I said, about implementing common sense, but that didn't always last forever. As he became more comfortable with you, one of the nights I do remember him and Rick Tutak, who's sitting in the back, and I were working a high school game, and Randy started, I don't know what was, he was sick, it was the middle of winter, it was late February, and something started tripping his trigger one night, and he started off the game calling all over the floor. Rick and I couldn't get a whistle. In other words, I think it was midway through the second quarter for a whistle. Rick and I even got a whistle off, and finally, Rick did make a call, stopped the game, came across the floor, and asked me if we needed to check with Wetzel before we went to the table with him. That made him even more mad. It was a long night, a long run home that night. Then there's a rumor that he owns, and Marcia, you talked about people showing up to work and offering advice for the accountant. Randy took care of it himself. There's a rumor, and I hope he expands on it. And if anybody was there, I'd like for anybody to speak up with it later, that twice in 2 weeks he eliminated fans from the stands permanently. And that was a matter of, I guess they left in a stretcher and later on in a hearse. So within 2 weeks, one in a basketball game and one in a baseball game. So hopefully he's got that part of his script tonight. In all seriousness, the short time I've been privileged enough to know Randy, I've always been an admired advocate and a fan of him and the way he carries himself, his professionalism, his diligence, his knacky way of always interjecting common sense into every situation and making the most difficult times seem easy. His stubbornness, usually to his strength actually, and the genuine care for others are high qualities. He's a lifelong educator, and I've yet to find an administrator, a teacher, a community member, a student, or anyone that does not have ultimate respect and admiration for him. My own kids have been fortunate enough to be students under his care and guidance interscholastically. My wife and I wouldn't have it any other way, and I know my kids wouldn't either. Randy, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and gratitude for allowing me to be a part of this today, and the sliver of time that I've known you for 15 years has been great. I appreciate it. Congratulations.